So you just saw some of the pictures of my 74 Nova as I was removing the rust. So this video is going to be on how I remove that rust and then of course the process that I took to actually get it all done. The product that I use to remove rust is this right here. I get it from Home Depot, and it's basically just phosphoric acid. This stuff is strong. I use gloves with it. If you have any cuts on your hand, it's going to burn like hell. This stuff, if you get it on concrete, it will eat concrete. I mean, literally, it will eat it, make a hole in it. It just disintegrates concrete. So you saw some of the parts that I cleaned, and let's take the subframe for example. Well, with the subframe, I didn't want to take it off the car. I wanted to do it right there on the car. So what I did was I stripped the subframe completely, took everything off, every screw, everything. And then what you want to do is you want to get some plastic. And you don't have to get the 2 mil, you can get the 1 mil they sell. They also make a 0.7 mil. So you just need plastic because you don't want this thing to get on the concrete. And to do a subframe, in my case, it took me 3 days to get it clean. Now, how do you get the product on to stay for 3 days? Well, I pour the product inside a Windex bottle. Windex bottle is the head, the actual sprayer, is very resistant to many chemicals. So it's an ideal bottle for strong chemicals such as phosphoric acid. Basically, you take it, put it in the Windex bottle, and spray in my case, spray the subframe down with that chemical. As you're spraying it, the chemical's going to fall on the floor. That's why you have the plastic to capture it. And what you want to do is you want to keep this on the metal. In the example I'm using, it's the subframe. You want to keep it on the subframe on for as long as possible. The longer you keep that product wet on the metal, the more rust it will eat. It will continue eating until the metal is completely clean. I mean, really clean. So what I did was I sprayed it every 4 hours, for example. I would run back to the garage and just spray it. Another thing you could do is you can take a sponge or whatever, and you soak up some of the phosphoric acid that's on the floor, and you just, kind of squeeze it on top of the metal again. You do this every 4 hours or so. Keep the metal wet. Your metal will come out really clean. The other way I use it is for example, in the large container such as this. I fill it up, and like if I have screws and small parts, I throw it in there, leave it in there for 24 hours. The next day, really clean. You just wash it off. Now for big parts, to clean this, you use water. So what I did was I would take a scrub pad, and just like you saw the scrubbing pad in my stripping video. So I take that and I cut it up into little pieces, and I put on some gloves and I hose down the metal and basically scrub the metal nice and clean. Make sure you get all this off of the metal. Now this phosphoric prep and etch is really good because it helps, one of the things, it helps ensure good paint adhesion. That was a bonus because everything that I'm stripping, I'm going to paint. So it actually etches the metal, so it provides a good foundation for the paint to stick on. You might want to, maybe scuff it up a little more to get that extra mechanical adhesion, but this stuff is great on its own. No need to go ahead and do that. But you wash the metal down completely with water, scrubbing it nice and clean, and then you dry it as fast as possible. The metal will be so clean that it will literally rust or flash rust in minutes if you have high humidity. So you want to keep it clean. Now, let's say you have you know, the part that you cleaned and you're not going to paint it right away. What I did was I just took a rag and just took some of the chemical or spray it onto the rag, and it doesn't have to be much, just, you know, get it wet, and just wiped all of the metal with some of that acid. Now it will dry on the metal, and it will dry very rapidly, and it will protect the metal for as long as you want, actually. I've had my radiator support with the dried up chemical for months before I decided to paint it. Didn't rust up on me again. Now when you're ready to paint it, you need to get it off. And what I did was I didn't use water because I didn't want the metal to start rusting or flash rusting. What I used was acetone. And you take some acetone, put on a rag, and just wipe the metal really clean. And then if you want, you can scuff up the metal, and then, well, ready to paint. And that's how easy it is to use the product. The only thing is that the more rust you have, the more time it takes for you to get rid of all the rust. So my subframe took me 3 days. My radiator support took a day and a half per side, so 3 days total for the radiator support. You know, it just takes days, and the process is you need to keep the item wet with the product. Now, for the parts, for example, this here, this is the bumper for the radiator support. It has rubber. Will it harm rubber? Nope. It doesn't do anything to rubber at all. So basically you just take it, dunk it in a container full of that, and you got yourself clean rubber. If the rubber had rust, it'll all disappear, and of course you'll have clean metal. Now after it's all clean, and you know, you wash it off because you have to hose it off to get it clean, same thing will happen. It will flash rust. So what I do is I paint it. Here's a painted screw, and what I use to paint it, what I love to paint the finished product with, like screws, is I used that Rust-Oleum paint. Let me go get it so you can see it. So basically this is what I use, and it's truck bed coating by Rust-Oleum, and this stuff is very durable, and it'll make the screws look brand new, and it gives a slight textured appearance to it, and it looks killer when you put the car together with that. Now you can paint it with anything you want, but the black, the textured finish really made it look awesome, I mean, in my opinion. And I'll show you on the car what it looks like, some of the screws that I treated with this chemical. So let me show you the screws on the Nova. So here are some examples. Those screws were done. You have some right here. And it works really, really good. I mean, these over here were done. Any screw that I was gonna use to put on the Nova, and I treated it with that stuff. I basically just painted it with that with that Rust-Oleum product, and it made my parts look fresh and new, ready for installation. So that's what I use to clean my metal. Hopefully this helps you. This stuff is awesome. I mean, I advise if you're going to take out some rust, go ahead and get yourself this stuff. This stuff is not cheap. It's about $16 to $20 a gallon, and this is my 3rd gallon. I love this stuff. This stuff is really good to keep around because it does such a good job in cleaning the metal. You could also use it with, let's say, a wire brush. Let's say you have heavy scaling of rust. You could just sand down the excess rust and then just use this on it. does a great job in cleaning up metal. So go ahead and pick yourself a bottle, and you know, when you tackle that rusty panel or whatever, and you want to get it clean before you paint it, spray some of that stuff on there. It'll do a really good job in cleaning it up. So I hope you liked this video. If you have any comments, go ahead and leave it in the box. And as always, thank you for watching.